So hi guys, today we are going to continue with our class and what I'm going to be talking about today is the menu bar, right? The file menu under the menu bar. So we are looking at just the file menu. When you go to the file menu in Corel Draw, from our previous class I said you can call up any of the menu options or menu bar by using your alternate. So if you press your alternate and then you look at the line, there's a letter that is underlined in each of these menu options there, and all you need to do is hit the letter that is underlined. So you can do alternate F and that will bring up the file menu. You don't have to do that if the faster method is just to go there and click, so this can also work, right? So we hit that file menu and then under the file menu we see new. Now when you do new, what new does is it creates a new document. So whenever you hit Ctrl N on new, it creates like, you try to create like a new document, right? So that is like what it does. And after the new, you see new from template, which kind of like opens up a few templates that CorelDraw has, and you could also go online if you like, so you can add yours too. You can create a template and add and put them from here. So you can download some templates, keep them in some special folders and get them in here and use them to work. You can also export your designs as templates so that you can always reuse them and re-edit them when you want to work. But these templates are mostly, if you select any particular one, it will just load it up and create it as a new document. So you could change some of the details about the templates by yourself. But we're not going to be doing this. So this is actually cool for people that are kind of like beginning in their design and they don't really have an option on idea of what they're trying to do, or they have a faint idea but they're trying to make it to like that professional touch. So these templates can help you get the job done. You could also go to open, where you can access files that you've already created, you've saved in a particular folder that you have them, and you can open any of the documents you've worked on. So that same way, this is practically how it works. You open up a document and you load it up, and this is your document, right? So something you've been working on before, you can actually get access to that thing and check it out. So this is practically what the open option does for you. It helps you open a document you've previously worked on and saved, right? You can see here we have like 3 tabs. We have O2, we have Untitled 1, and we have Image Cartoon. So all these are like separate files, and you can see them all lining up on that tab. And if you want to close them, all you need to do is hit on that. It's hover on the name and you find the X button there, and you click on it. It closes. Ask you if you want to save. And if you don't want to save, you can say no. So the same thing for the Untitled one, you close it as well, and that goes off. And so we go back to our file menu. We can find the open recent and the open from cloud. If you've been saving your document to cloud, you could actually access it from there. And then open recent just outlines all the recent job you've done, and you can open them from here. And we have close for the particular file you're currently on, the tab you're currently on if you want to close it. And then we have close all, that enables you to close all documents at the time. And then obviously if you're closing all, it will ask you to save if you have unsaved work, so it's not really bad. And we have save. By default, when you create a file in CorelDraw, the save option is grayed out. You cannot use it because nothing has been done here. So that means if you close this file, it's practically not going to save it to the hard disk because you've not done anything of note. But the moment you create, let's say you draw something, or you put a line, or you draw a dot, or you type a word, it becomes active. And at that point, it needs you to save. So the first time saving it is, for the first time you're trying to save, you find the save option there. When you hit it, it's going to take you to a folder where you can actually rename, if you have not already renamed it, and save your document, right, for the first time. And after saving that document, it will require updates, right? So for every time you move a file, every time you do something, for every action you take, and I don't mean every action by like every step of the way. I mean for like a considerable action you take, let's say you've done like 5 things, you can at least save, because you see that every time you make an action, the save button becomes active, so it needs you to save. And this is like something that you have to do continually, because saving is a continuous process. And CorelDraw, mind you, I would warn you, CorelDraw crashes like a normal app would, and if you're not saving, it might be bad for you. The next thing we'll do under here is go here and we'll find so it's just like it opens from cloud, you could also save to cloud, right? And then your save as option is just an option you use to save to a different file name. So let's say you have O2 here and you want to save it to O3. all you need to do is use your save as, and then you have two instances of the same document bearing different names, right? So probably it's always good to use your save as option when you want to do some moderations, like you want to move in a different direction altogether. You could do that creating a different file entirely, or you could also create a duplicate of your page, your current working page, your current working document. Like if it's something like a flyer, you can maybe just have like a duplicate the page with the layers and their content, and then you can re-edit this all in one page. Or you could go all extreme and decide to save it as a different file name or even a different format or version. The good thing about saving as a different file is also that you could change the type. So we have several file formats you could save as. You could even save as an Illustrator file, a lot of file formats. And if you're using Corel Draw version, you could also save to a lower version, so which is really cool. I think the least supported version right now is 15. So you could do that and then you could save, right? And there are other options too you could check out. When you go back to your file, you find like we said, save as template, so you can actually access it as a template from here. All right. For the revert, what it does is it helps you sends you back to your previously saved checkpoint, right? So let's say you move a file, let's say you move this file here, you give it a color and all that, and then you go back to your file and say revert. It's going to ask you that it's going to take you back to your last saved version, and you're going to lose all your current savings. But what this means is that you don't have an undo or a redo step. It has purged your clipboard, your memory, your computer memory from everything. So right now all you have is the previous step, the place you saved your last progress. The acquire image is something you do when you're trying to get an image straight into Corel Draw, say from your scanner or something. So you could use acquire image and you could select your twin source or your WIA source. So this twin source is more like a scanner, right? And then you get the picture, you scan it, and then acquire is to bring it into your document, right? So this WIA source probably is something that has to do with your Windows as well. Not used it, so I guess it's something like that. Yeah. So it's still a scanner. It's still telling us of the scanner we can use. So you can use that scanner to make it your default scanner, and then anytime you want to acquire an image, you just hit acquire. It goes there. You must have placed your picture. It scans the picture and sends it straight into your document, right? But you can do that as a separate thing. You don't have to do that from Corel Draw. There are other dedicated ways you can do that. Then we have the import and the export, and these commands help you bring in stuff into Corel Draw, files like PDFs, files like EPS files, files like pictures and the rest of them, and other Corel Draw files as well, Corel Draw documents. You can bring them into this particular document by using the import command. And by the import command, I could go drag a picture like this one. I could double click on this to import it. Okay, it's saying it's web piece. Alright, so let's look for a format that is supported like PNG, and we can bring it. So you could draw it. You could use your you could draw a particular, if you wanted to go on a particular size, you could just draw this right here, or you could press enter and it will just stay on the center of the page, right? You could also press spacebar and it will use the original position. But right now you can see all those things as tips right on the handle as you're trying to import. So you could click and drag, and then it stays on this particular position as your imported file, right? So that's the good thing about importing. But I believe a lot of us are used to the unconventional method where we just go to the particular folder that we need to import from and we just simply drag it into Corel Draw, which is also another effective way. But this one doesn't really control the size. It brings it in as its original size. So you might have to do some adjustments. So if you need to have more control over the size and everything, then the import command might be the best for you. Size, position, and all. The import command might be the best for you, and not just copy and paste. You could also do your copy and paste just like you drag. You could also select an object, do Ctrl C from outside, and come in here and do Ctrl V, and it will paste at the center as well. You can see these files are extremely big, so you could scale them down to like 10% to really see it. So at this rate, you can see all these things were brought in. They were imported or with different formats. This uses the original import format to get this in, and I think it's one of the coolest things about Corel Draw. Many ways to bring in your files. Then we could go to export. At the same time we import, or the same way we import, the same way we can export as well. So if we give this like a red background and say put this chair here, or black background, we could take out the outline by right clicking there. So we could just select this, just press C to center them both, and we could go to file and say export. We can just do export, and then we have a lot of export formats here. So you can see that we have PDF, AI, CPT, we have JPEG, and the rest of them. You could do that. You can export with any of these files. There's also the other option to export, which is the one at the bottom that says export for. So it gives us specifics. So you could do for Office, you could do for web, you could do for WordPress or multiple files. And in this case, if you want to do for Office, you hit here. I mostly export for web as per social media when I finish a design. So if I want to export that, I will just click on this, and I've already set up my web export options here. So you can see I'm always using PNG because in CorelDraw, well, I've noticed it's sharper. You could set it to JPEG as well, or GIF, or any other version. You could set your color mode, transparency, and the rest of them, and even the size, the transformation. So you can always check anti-alias so that the edges are smoother, and you can embed your color profile if you like, so that other devices can read what color profile you used for your design or for your export. And then we have the transformation as well, so you could transform your image, the size. If it feels too big, like right now it's 474 KB, and if you feel like it's too big, you want it smaller, you could probably try to alter the size a bit. Now the width is 1038 pixels, so you could be like, okay, let's do the width at 500. I don't go anything below 1000 though. I'm just giving an example. So most times I design, I like to keep it above 1000, or I like to keep the smallest parts, the smallest points, which is probably the width or sometimes the height, above 1000 or from 1000. So it feels fair. Even for previews that you're sending to a client, it might be interesting to or important to do it like that, so that you can actually see the details. So 500 is quite small, and the height is 1304. So once you press 500, you can press tab, and then it will automatically adjust everything. So you can see that, and right now you can see that the size has adjusted to 135 kilobytes, right? And you could also maintain the size if you like. You could restrict it so it doesn't go bigger or smaller to the size, the original size, or you could use the maintain aspect ratio. When you maintain the aspect ratio, it keeps the aspect ratio in check, right? If you don't maintain it, you can actually adjust them separately. I could go like 1000 here, and it will stretch, you understand? So that is basically what this can do. So if you want to maintain the aspect ratio, make sure this is locked, but not after you've adjusted this back to 48, the scale, 48%, so it stays original. Then you keep your aspect ratio, and then you can save as. You can hit your save as, and it will show you, display place. Okay, so you can export it as O2, right? And that's your O2 there. So if you go to your folder, you can find your export as a picture. So it's one of the ways to do that. So under exports, you can see O2. You just type O2 here, and there, that's our chair. So you can see our exported image. That's it. So it's now a picture, right? And after that, we have send to. So you can send your file to maybe a saved version. If you want to send it, to make sure it's saved, you send it to a Bluetooth device, send to different other methods, different other places. Your desktop, you can create a shortcut so you can easily access this file and open it. You could also publish the PDF, which is like one really cool thing for those of us interested in doing ebooks. You could actually design your cover and design other pages right along your CorelDraw, and after you finish, you could export it as a PDF. You could publish it as a PDF. You could also use some other formats, but I think PDF is the most popular in CorelDraw for exporting documents like that. So as well as your designs, when you finish a design for print, you can also export it to publish it as PDF. The shortcut option is here as well on the standard bar, so you can do that from here. You can publish to PDF, and we have different formats for PDF. We have custom, which is what I'm using currently. We have prepress. We have a lot of options here that you can use, and you could also come to the settings and do some extra settings from here. You could export just the current page or the current document, or a particular number of pages. You could do all sorts of things, the color, document, objects, prepress, security, and check out if there are issues that you want to address. So all these things are part of the package for exporting as PDF, and once you're done with them, voila, you have a PDF file. And then we have print merge, which is like creating a couple of prints and merging them together. Then we have print, which is also like a job you want to print directly, send to your printer. You can use this. We have print preview, and for printers, what print preview is. You can also set your print preview, view it. You can mirror it as well with your print preview. It's been a while. been here. It's been like a really long while I've been here. So you can do some settings for your print. This is really funny. It looks like I'm back in hell. And here you could do some settings. You could mirror. You could, you could flip. You could do stuff. You could set up a color, composites. You could choose colors you're printing: cyan, magenta, yellow, black. You could ignore document overprints, or you could overprint black. You could overprint black to make sure that black stands out, especially when you're using CMY key. You make sure that every other color prints completely, like they don't bleed out the area where the black is supposed to be. Cyan passes underneath, the black is printed on top of the others, right? So you can do that with your always overprint option. You could, your layout, you could check a lot of things here. You could set your prints, and they're pretty much self-explanatory here. Yeah, they're pretty much self-explanatory. I think the only thing I've not seen, okay, is this mirror. So if you're printing from this thing, you want to make sure that you mirror it, but that's not me telling you. So you want to make sure it's mirrored, so when it comes out, in the opposite direction and stuff like that. So you can cancel your print preview. It's been like ages since I got into this place, right? And then at the end of the day, you have document properties that can display, properties of your document, the number of objects on it, the resolution, the color profile, stuff like that. It can tell you all these things about your documents, and it's really cool. I find it cool. At least you can learn a lot of things here. And then you can exit the whole document right from here. And that is about that for the file menu. I think we're going to stop here. And if you enjoyed this video, really, I would like you to leave a like and drop a comment. And for my subsequent videos, we're going to be taking and treating every single aspect of CorelDraw from scratch to end. And that is how we're going to do to complete the whole user interface. And then we go into more details with designing. And as usual, you can check out my other works I've done on my YouTube channel. I've been doing a couple of tutorials previously. I'd like you to check them out. You might see one or two things that might be helpful to you.